way. Maybe if we dangle some dollars in front of these players' faces, they're more likely to say, I can go for a paycheck right now. Oh, I know we're all strong on this front, but I'm kind of hungry for a meal. I could use a couple dollars in my pocket.
Money talks, BS walks. That's not just a saying right now in the WNBA, it's a strategy. And what we just heard reveals exactly how the league and owners are planning to break the players' unity on this CBA standoff. They're not negotiating anymore, they're dangling contracts in front of players' faces, hoping someone blinks first. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. The collective bargaining agreement expired at midnight on January 10th. No deal. Players want more revenue sharing, better travel conditions, expanded rosters. Owners offered a package the union called inadequate. So now we're in what's called a status quo period, which sounds like a pause, but it's actually when things get really interesting.
Agent, let's take this a step further. If I'm an agent, I am using this, and when I'm going to my player, I'm using it to tell them how much this would translate to on the CBA deal that the owners currently offered. So let's say my name's Kelsey Mitchell, for example. Boom, here's 400. The Fever are offering you a $400,000 max salary contract. Kelsey, if you guys would accept that deal, it's really a $1.2 million deal.
And there it is. The league is telling general managers to send out free agent offers anyway, right now, today. Even without a CBA in place, think about what that means for a second. Kelsey Mitchell is a free agent. She's been with Indiana her entire career, helped build that franchise into a contender alongside Caitlin Clark. Under the current CBA, a max contract for her would be around $400,000. Not terrible, but not life-changing money either. But here's the play the owners are making. They've already offered the players a new CBA that would triple maximum salaries. The union rejected it because they want a higher percentage of revenue sharing. Specifically, they want 50% of league revenue instead of the current structure. Players feel they deserve more, since they're the product on the court. So now agents are going to start getting calls. Teams are going to offer Kelsey Mitchell that $400,000 deal under the old CBA terms. And her agent is going to sit down with her and say, you know what this contract would be worth if you accepted the owner's proposal? $1.2 million.
Oh, I didn't think of it like that. Go up to Dana Evans, wherever she's going to sign. Her agent comes up to her, hey, so-and-so's offering you $300,000. If we translate that to the deal that you guys are currently turning down, that's really an $880,000 deal. Oh, well, I didn't think about it like that. That's what's going to get these players to jump. If they start equating what the offer is to what that new offer could be that the owners are laying out there.
Exactly. Once you start seeing actual dollar figures, once you start calculating what your market value would be under the owner's proposed deal, that solidarity starts to crack. Dana Evans, another free agent, maybe she gets offered $300,000 under current terms. Her agent translates that to $880,000 under the proposed CBA. Suddenly that rejected offer doesn't look so inadequate anymore. This is psychological warfare. The owners know that the player's strongest weapon is unity. Every player standing together, refusing to play, willing to sacrifice a season if necessary. That's leverage. That's power. But the moment one player says, I need that paycheck, the moment one agent convinces their client that this deal is actually pretty good, the whole thing falls apart. And the owners are betting on something else too. These aren't NBA players with massive shoe deals and endorsement portfolios. Most WNBA players are making low six figures. They play overseas in the winter to supplement their income. A significant percentage of the league is living paycheck to paycheck. How long can they really hold out?
Status quo period means they can send out qualifying offers to free agents beginning today, sources told Front Office Sports. So my question is, today, January 11th, how many players got calls from their agents saying, look, Chicago Sky are offering you this. The Las Vegas Aces are offering you this. The Los Angeles Sparks are offering you this. The Connecticut Sun are offering you this. The Atlanta Dream are offering you this. How many players actually got calls to?
But here's where it gets more complicated. The league isn't just playing financial hardball with the players. they're also running out of time on something the players' union might not have fully considered: arena scheduling. Ramona Shelburne from ESPN pointed this out, and it's actually a massive issue. Training camps don't open until April, so on the surface, it seems like there's plenty of time to figure this out. No rush, right? Keep negotiating. Extend the deadline again if needed. Wrong, because if there's no CBA, there's no schedule. And if there's no schedule, NBA teams that share arenas with WNBA franchises are going to start booking those dates for other events. The Jonas Brothers want to do a summer tour. Luke Combs is planning arena shows. Corporate events, conventions, other sporting events, they're all waiting for those dates.
Just being affiliated with Caitlin Clark? You see Lexi Hall, Sydney Colson, Sophie Cunningham, Aaliyah Boston, Ari McDonald, Kelsey Mitchell. All these players are benefiting off the court just being associated with Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever.
Exactly right. Because here's the reality that nobody wants to say out loud: most WNBA games don't fill arenas. Outside of maybe 6 or 7 marquee games involving Caitlin Clark or Aja Wilson, you're looking at buildings that are 30 to 50% full on a good night. So if you're an NBA owner who also owns the WNBA franchise in that market, and someone offers you a guaranteed sellout for a Luke Combs concert versus a WNBA game that might draw 4,000 fans, which are you taking? The concert makes you more money on tickets, way more money on concessions, more money on parking, more money on merchandise. The Players Union put out a statement saying the league is jeopardizing the livelihood of players and the trust and investment of fans. But the owners are looking at spreadsheets, they're looking at revenue projections, and if they can book a Jonas Brothers show that generates 3 times the revenue of a WNBA game, they're booking the Jonas Brothers. This is the leverage the owners have that nobody's talking about. The players can threaten to strike. They can refuse to sign contracts. They can hold out for better terms, but the owners can just shrug and say, fine, we'll book other events and make more money anyway.
And once they start getting shown actual dollar signs and figures, it's going to be much harder for them to stay united on this front. Let's talk about it. Miami. When the clock strikes midnight on Friday night, the third deadline in negotiations between the players and the WNBA for a new collective bargaining agreement will have come and gone with no deal. The league won't turn into a pumpkin, but negotiations will enter a period of status quo. That means both sides can continue negotiating while maintaining the conditions of the current CBA.
And that's the other pressure point. Once teams start sending out offers, once players start seeing what their market value is, they're going to start making calculations about opportunity cost. Let's say you're a mid-level free agent. Maybe you get offered $250,000 to play in Connecticut. Under the current CBA, that's decent money. Under the proposed CBA, the owners put forward, that translates to about $750,000. Still good money. But now you also have to factor in endorsements and marketing opportunities. If you sign with Indiana to play alongside Caitlin Clark, even a mid-level contract suddenly becomes worth way more off the Lexi Hull, Sydney Colson, Sophie Cunningham, Aaliyah Boston, Erica Wheeler, Kelsey Mitchell. All these players have seen their social media followings explode and their endorsement opportunities multiply just by being associated with Clark and the Fever. So that $250,000 contract in Connecticut, maybe it's worth $750,000 if you accept the owner's CBA proposal. But that same contract in Indiana might be worth $750,000 in salary plus another $300,000 in endorsements and appearances, because you're playing with the most marketable player in women's basketball.
On the current market, do teams see me as a max level player? Do teams see me as a mid-level player? Do teams see me as a minimum level player? If I were to accept this new deal, am I looking at a $400,000, $600,000, $800,000? Are teams really ready to give me the max deal? Players got to start thinking this way. In a statement late Friday night, the union said the league and owners have remained committed to undervalued player contributions, dismissing player concerns, and running out the clock. The Players Association accused the league of delaying and clinging to the league status quo, which it said was jeopardizing the livelihood of players and trust and investment of fans.
The Players Union is trying to frame this as the owners being greedy and refusing to share revenue fairly. And look, there's definitely truth to that argument. The players are the product. They're the ones fans pay to see. They're the ones putting their bodies on the line every night. But the owners are making a different calculation. They're looking at the financial realities of running a professional sports league that still loses money. Yes, ratings were up significantly in 2024, largely because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and the rookie class. Yes, attendance was up. Yes, merchandise sales were up, but the league still isn't profitable overall. Most teams are still operating at a loss. The NBA is still subsidizing the WNBA to keep it afloat. So when the players' union demands 50% of revenue sharing, the owners are saying, 50% of what? We're still in the red. Now you can argue about creative accounting and how the NBA structures the finances, and whether the WNBA is being set up to fail. Those are legitimate conversations. But the immediate reality is that the owners have offered to triple maximum salaries, significantly improve minimum salaries, and increase overall player compensation. And the players said no because they want a different revenue sharing structure.
There's also another issue going on here, Ramona Shelburne pointed out. While it doesn't seem like there are many immediate consequences to another formal or informal extension on the CBA talks because training camps don't open until April, I'm starting to hear increasing concern about how this delay could affect scheduling next year. In other words, if there's no CBA, there's no schedule, and arenas start to give dates away to other events. This is a great point that Ramona brings up. WNBA game, Jonas Brothers coming to town. WNBA game, Luke Combs coming to town. WNBA game, somebody else coming to town. Do the owners want to lose that money? Do the owners want to lose that opportunity to bring in all that revenue from a legit act coming to town? From someone that's going to actually fill up the building? Someone who's going to have their fans patronize the concession stands? Food, beer, etc., etc.? This is a great point Ramona Shelburne brings up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.
So here's where we are. Free agent offers are going out starting January 11th. Players are going to start getting calls from their agents with actual contract numbers. Some of those numbers are going to be really tempting, especially when agents start translating them into what they'd be worth under the owner's proposed CBA. At the same time, the clock is ticking on arena availability. Every day without a schedule is another day that NBA teams are fielding offers from concerts and other events that would generate more revenue than WNBA games. The longer this drags out, the more likely it becomes that the season gets shortened or canceled entirely. Not because of a strike, but because there's literally nowhere to play the games. The players' union is betting that they can maintain solidarity, that every player will refuse to sign anything until they get the deal they want, that they can outlast the owners and force better terms through collective action. And maybe they're right. Maybe they stay unified and the owners eventually cave. But the owners are betting on something different. They're betting that once players start seeing real money on the table, once they start calculating what they're giving up by holding out, once they start worrying about losing a full season of salary and career momentum, someone is going to break. And once one player breaks, others will follow. This is the critical moment, not the CBA negotiations themselves. Those are just legal language and percentage points. The critical moment is right now, when players are getting calls about contracts and having to decide whether to stand firm or take the money. Think about the position this puts someone like Kelsey Mitchell in. She's 29 years old. She's been in the league since 2018. She's never made more than $200,000 in a season. She's played overseas every winter to make ends meet. Now she's a free agent, coming off the best season of her career, playing alongside the most marketable player in women's basketball. Indiana is going to offer her a max contract. Under current terms, that's around $400,000. Under the owner's proposed CBA, that's $1.2 million. Plus endorsements and marketing opportunities from being Caitlin Clark's backcourt partner. Plus the chance to compete for a championship with a loaded roster. How long does she hold out? How long does any player in that position hold out? The union is asking her to turn down potentially $2 million in total compensation to maintain solidarity for a deal that might never come. That's asking a lot, and Kelsey Mitchell isn't unique. There are dozens of free agents in similar positions. Some of them are younger and can afford to wait. Some of them are older and this might be their last chance at a significant payday. Some of them have overseas options and some don't. Some of them have endorsement income, and some are living solely on their WNBA salary. The owners know all of this. They know exactly which players are most vulnerable to a good offer. They know which agents are most likely to push their clients to sign. They know which teams can make the most attractive pitches. And they're deploying all of that knowledge right now. This is why the Players Union put out that statement accusing the league of running out the clock and jeopardizing the livelihood of players. Because they see what's happening. The owners aren't negotiating anymore. They're not trying to find middle ground or compromise on revenue-sharing percentages. They're just sending out contracts and waiting for someone to sign. And once someone signs, it's over. Once one player accepts a contract under the current CBA terms, it sends a message to every other free agent that the holdout is pointless. It gives teams leverage to tell other players, well, so-and-so already signed. So clearly the market has been set. It fractures the unity that's the player's only real weapon. So the question isn't really about CBA terms or revenue-sharing percentages anymore. The question is, can the players stay unified long enough to force the owners back to the negotiating table? Or will the financial pressure and the arena scheduling pressure and the career pressure cause enough players to break that the whole thing collapses? My guess? Someone signs within 2 weeks. Probably a mid-tier free agent who gets offered more than they expected, and decides a guaranteed contract is worth more than an uncertain future. And once that happens, the floodgates open. Other players start signing, teams start finalizing rosters, the schedule gets built, and the Players Union has to accept whatever deal is on the table because they've lost their leverage. The owners are playing chess here. They're not trying to win the argument about what's fair or what players deserve. They're just waiting for economic reality to do their work for them. And based on how this is playing out, it's probably going to work. So where do you stand on this? Are the players right to hold out for a better revenue-sharing deal even if it means risking the entire season? Or are the owners being reasonable by offering to triple salaries while the league is still losing money? Because you can't have it both ways. Either the players deserve 50% of revenue even when that revenue doesn't cover costs, or the owners are justified in offering what they can afford while keeping the league financially viable. Let me know in the comments what you think happens next. Are we going to have a WNBA season in 2021? And if we do, what does the final CBA deal look like? Drop your predictions below and make sure you're subscribed, because this situation is changing by the day and we'll be covering every development as it happens.